The Air India crash of June 12th, a modern aviation mystery and the long path to answers. On June 12, 2025, a tragic and unprecedented event unfolded in the skies above Ahmedabad, India. An Air India Boeing 7878 Dreamliner operating flight AI171 to London Gatwick crashed less than a minute after takeoff, killing at least 270 people, including 229 passengers, 12 crew members, and at least 29 people on the ground. Only one person survived the devastating crash. It is the deadliest air disaster in a decade, and one that has shaken confidence in an aircraft model long considered a benchmark of modern aviation safety. The full scope of the tragedy is still being processed, not only by authorities and investigators, but also by the global community, the families of the victims, and aviation experts who are trying to make sense of an event that, so far, defies easy explanation. A flight that never left the ground. Flight AI171 departed Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport in Ahmedabad at approximately 1:38 p.m. local time. Within moments, it was clear that something was wrong. According to report, the aircraft only reached an altitude of 625 feet before it began to descend rapidly. Just seconds after liftoff, it crashed into a densely populated residential area, igniting a massive fireball and destroying multiple buildings. Surveillance footage from nearby structures captured the haunting final seconds. The aircraft appeared to struggle for lift. The nose was pitched unusually high, and the landing gear remained extended. The aircraft's flaps, which play a critical role in generating lift during takeoff, may not have been properly deployed. To compound the tragedy, the crash caused devastation on the ground, with at least 29 residents killed and many others injured or displaced. First responders arrived quickly, but the scale of destruction, combined with intense fire, hindered rescue and recovery operations. What makes the incident especially puzzling is that the Boeing 787 Dreamliner has, until now, maintained an exemplary safety record. This is the first fatal crash involving the Dreamliner since it entered service in 2009. Unlike the troubled Boeing 737 MAX, which experienced two high-profile crashes linked to software issues, the Dreamliner had remained relatively unscathed by controversy, until now. Early theories, technical red flags. Several aviation experts have raised concerns about the aircraft's configuration during takeoff. Former British Airways pilot Alastair Rosenshine and aviation security analyst Paul Edwards, both speaking to Sky News, highlighted two anomalies visible in the surveillance footage. The landing gear remained extended, and the flaps, key aerodynamic components that help a plane generate lift at low speeds, might not have been set correctly. These technical misconfigurations, if confirmed, could explain why the plane failed to gain altitude. Improper flap settings can drastically reduce lift and increase drag, making it nearly impossible for a plane to climb out safely. Landing gear remaining down can further impede aerodynamic performance. Another theory, collision with birds, was floated early in the investigation, but aviation experts have been quick to downplay this possibility. The Dreamliner is designed to continue flying even if one engine fails, and there has been no credible evidence so far that a bird strike disabled both engines simultaneously. However, the fact that one engine was newly installed and the other was not due for maintenance until December raises additional questions about potential engine performance or thrust discrepancies. Investigators will likely scrutinize both propulsion systems in detail. The investigation begins, a global effort. The investigation is being led by India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. It is working closely with international partners including Boeing, the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, the United Kingdom's Air Accidents Investigation Branch, and counterterrorism units as a precautionary measure. One of the first major milestones was the recovery of the aircraft's black boxes, the cockpit voice recorder, and the flight data recorder, collectively known as Enhanced Airborne Flight Recorders. These devices are critical for reconstructing the aircraft's final minutes, capturing everything from engine performance and flight control inputs to pilot communication and even fire handle activations. However, retrieving and analyzing the data has proven more complicated than expected. The black boxes were damaged in the post-crash fire and only recovered after several days, on June 13th and June 16th. This delay is unusual, as such devices are often located within hours. According to Aurobindo Honda, former Director General of India's AAIB, the severity of the fire likely contributed to the difficulty in recovery. While some reports suggested the data would be sent overseas for analysis, India's Civil Aviation Ministry later clarified that no final decision had been made. A comprehensive technical and security evaluation is underway to determine whether India's new AAIB lab in Delhi is equipped to extract and decode the data. If not, the devices will be sent abroad, most likely to the US, for advanced analysis. Experts note that in many cases, redundant extraction is useful. One unit may be analyzed domestically, while another is sent to the NTSB for validation and comparison. Beyond the black boxes, a multi-layered analysis. Black box data alone will not solve the mystery. Investigators are also meticulously collecting debris from the crash site, interviewing witnesses, analyzing ATC recordings, and reviewing CCTV footage from surrounding buildings. The goal is to triangulate data from multiple sources to build a coherent narrative of what occurred in those final 30 seconds of flight. Particular attention is being given to why the landing gear remained extended and whether any mechanical or human error occurred during flap deployment. Investigators are also examining aircraft maintenance logs, previous incident reports, and internal Air India procedures to uncover any systemic flaws. In the words of Honda, it's not just about finding the root cause, it's about understanding the chain of events that led to the failure. That's what prevents future tragedies. This comprehensive approach is standard procedure in major crashes. ICAO guidelines, specifically Document 9756, recommend that member states publish a preliminary report within 30 days and aim for a final report within 12 months. If this isn't feasible, an annual progress update must be released on each anniversary until the final report is available. Still, investigators warn that it may be months or even years before the full picture emerges. Even if a likely cause is identified early, every piece of evidence must be verified, cross-checked, and documented with full transparency. Impact on Air India and India's aviation industry. In addition to the human toll, the crash has serious implications for Air India's operations and brand. Chairman N. Chandrasekaran had spoken, stated that the aircraft's engines had clean histories, with one being new and the other scheduled for routine overhaul in December. Still, the crash has raised broader concerns about safety oversight, training, and fleet maintenance. India's aviation regulator has ordered additional safety inspections for all Boeing 787s in Air India's fleet. So far, 26 of the airline's 33 Dreamliner aircraft have been inspected and cleared for continued operation. As a precautionary step, Air India has announced a temporary reduction of 15% in wide-body aircraft operations, affecting 16 international routes and 3 overseas destinations from June 21st to July 15th. The airline cited the need for enhanced pre-flight checks and airspace restrictions in the Middle East as contributing factors to the temporary cuts. While Air India is trying to assure the public of its commitment to safety, the reputational damage may take longer to repair. With global attention fixed on the airline's response, every decision, from communication to technical action, will be scrutinized. Conclusion: waiting for answers in an age of uncertainty. The Air India crash on June 12th is more than an isolated incident. It is a mirror reflecting the complexity of modern aviation. It challenges long-held assumptions about safety, highlights the fragility of even the most advanced systems, and reminds the world that even in 2025, flying is not immune to failure. As families mourn and investigators work tirelessly, the aviation community waits, not just for answers, but for clarity, accountability, and a path forward. In a world where every flight is powered by hundreds of thousands of calculations, systems, and protocols, this crash reminds us that when one link fails, the consequences can be devastating. For now, the cause remains a mystery, but the search for truth is underway, and the world is watching.